Hi, Abe.
Hi, Abe.
Hey, how are you guys today?
We're good.
Good.
I'd love to hear from you what you think is good about Joseph and Naomi's marriage.
Um, what
You
do I
go
think
first,
is
hon.
good about Joseph and Naomi's marriage? Well, they've saved each other, so they know that they need one another, so they cannot get divorced. And what do I think is good about it? I think, they both come into this marriage as people who have been married before, and they almost pick up where they left off,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I think we both felt a sense of uh, uh, history, irritable, marital,
Right?
kind of history. And there is, I don't know how much you've seen. We haven't seen anything, but there's a beautiful moment late in the season where you realize that underneath uh, everything that is so separate about them, they do come together on something very human in the
And they
end.
and they they feel like a team, like a
Yeah,
couple, like a unit.
yeah. And the sex scene is
Hot.
unbelievable.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
I,
Miss
Yeah,
I do
Whitford.
yeah.
I do feel
Kind
like
of
they're
White
both
Lotus in New Bethlehem.
there we go. Good, they go
Yeah.
together so well. I think they're both not necessarily good people, but they're not quite as bad as some of the other people we meet on this show. Do you think either of them is redeemable?
I mean, I don't think Naomi's done half the stuff that. Look at Serena. I mean, I did steal Janine's baby from her hands and then send her to the colonies. But aside from that, I think Naomi's fine.
I
She
think
just
it's
keeps her head down. She's like trying not to get in trouble and trying to stay out of the way.
yeah. I think it's a fascinating thing about the show is uh, Lydia, Serena, a lot of overtly evil behavior, and yet through the miracle, I think, of some great writing and some phenomenal acting, you see in these people. June sees in these people a sort of a spark of decency that she cultivates, which I think is a very interesting thing to think about in the show and in life.
Absolutely. Do you feel like you had a sense where your characters were going when you first started the show, or it's taken you on a surprising journey?
I've been completely surprised every season. I found out that my character was marrying Bradley's character at a wardrobe fitting in season 5 very early on, and the wardrobe woman said, "Should we fit you for the wedding dress?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, wedding dress?" She's like, "Oh, you're marrying Bradley."
She was thrilled.
Made some calls that had already been written. I had to do
Yeah,
it
yeah.
anyway.
It had already been written. I always felt this sense of suspense about Lawrence, of where this battle between his better angels and his pragmatic side, where that was going to end up. And I was actually, I was really worried about it. I don't want to reveal anything. I didn't want it to be. I can tell you, I, I may be an egotistical actor, but I knew I didn't want this guy to be, you don't want the Handmaid's Tale to be fixed by by the old white guy.
Bradley Whitford. That is not the way you want the
I was
show to
afraid.
go.
Yeah, I knew they were too smart to consider that, but I was hopeful for this character. But I didn't want it to be easy, and I think they sort of stuck the landing on that.
And also with this show, the writing is so good that you can trust the writers and follow their story for your character. It's not on this show more than any, like I rarely made a call or had a giant issue with anything that was happening with Naomi.
And if anybody ever,
And if you did, they
if
picked
you
the
did,
phone up and you chat about
yeah,
it.
it was incredibly collaborative,
Yeah.
which I think made the show work.
Well, thank you both so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing how it all ends.
Thank you.
Thank you.